Today, we're going to take a close look at assertive communication and ultimately create a kind of flexible formula that you can use as a guideline for your assertiveness, particularly in a time of potential conflict. We've already looked at understanding our other options as far as being non-assertive or passive, aggressive, and passive-aggressive, and looked at how assertiveness means communicating what you feel, what you think, what you want or need, and being open to hearing and considering what the other person feels, thinks, wants, and needs. In order to do this well, you want to begin with an I message. You can begin by saying how you feel, what you want, or what you think, but by starting with I, you're taking responsibilities for your feelings, opinions, or desires. This makes the other person less likely to become defensive than if you started with a you statement, which can feel like an accusation. So let's begin by considering feelings. I feel, rather than you make me feel. And now you need to name or describe a feeling like frustrated or disappointed. Be aware that some feelings can resonate to the other person like a judgment. When you say, I feel irritated, it seems like you're saying that the other person is irritating and it may have a more negative connotation. It helps to use empathy and consider, how would you feel if someone were saying that to you? So there's one element you need, feelings. I feel sad. Next, you should include an objective and specific description of the perceived wrongful behavior. What did they do that you have a problem with in language that does not imply judgment? You want to attack the problem, not the person. You trimmed the shrubs without checking with me, rather than, why didn't you ask me before you hacked up that hedge? Being objective also lessens the likelihood of defensiveness from them, because if it is a true objective description, then they'll be more likely to acknowledge their actions. Don't be sarcastic and avoid words like always, never, or only. Remember to focus on the present and on things over which they have some control. Otherwise, you may be bringing up issues that can't be resolved. Don't include language that criticizes, blames, or shames. And remember that sometimes people are unaware that there's any kind of problem. If we don't know, we can't choose to change. You chewed up one of my slippers while I was gone. You might also want to include possible consequences of that perceived behavior. A consequence would be a result that has happened or will be happening, whether it impacts you, them, the relationship, or an outside party. It represents an effect that is a concern, and this can be an important part of how you see the situation. It can include feelings such as hurt or a loss of trust. Those could be consequences of an action. Just remember to use I language. This can help the other person to put their actions into a larger context. Ma'ama, now I have to buy a new pair of slippers, and I miss the old ones. You may also include your subjective interpretation for their motivation for this action, or why you think they did what they did. This should again not be an accusation and be expressed as a possibility rather than a certainty. It may also offer an opportunity for them to save face and you to show that you understand their challenges or even strengths. Say it as an I statement so that it expresses your opinion. I realize that you've been really busy and perhaps you forgot. I realize that you can get bored and you were probably just looking for a new toy. Finally, tell them what you want. What result are you seeking? Do you just want them to know? Is there something you want them to do? Is there something you intend to do? Be careful of that last choice, as it can sometimes sound like a threat or retaliation and cause a defensive response. Telling what you want could also open the way to we language, which can help make them feel a part of the solution and emphasize common goals. We and us can make us feel more connected and collaborative. We can do this together. This is also an option for how to begin your clear message. We need to find a better way for you to spend your time when I'm not here. So, these are our possible elements for a clear, assertive message. The choices you make may be influenced by many things, including gender, personality, culture, the nature of the relationship, relative power or status, use of politeness, and preservation of negative face or our sense of having choices. But the primary consideration may be the underlying desire to preserve and enhance the relationship. Try to be flexible and respond to the particular context. Remember that you can disagree without being disconfirming. But we're not done. Assertiveness is not just saying what you want or think or feel. It also means you want to know what they think and want and feel. They have their own view of the situation, and you need to be open and ready to listen without becoming defensive. Respect and acknowledge the other person and their position. Be genuine and have a concern for them and the relationship. Don't assume that you are right. Try not to get defensive yourself, even if they're being more aggressive, and be comfortable with acknowledging mistakes. What do you think? Our formula can actually be helpful for you in avoiding defensiveness because you can listen to what they say, look for the elements, and maintain calm and clear thinking. You can ask questions to help you fill in the missing pieces and make sure you understand correctly without interrupting. Match your nonverbals to your verbals and don't communicate negatively through how you say things. Try to stay relaxed and open. Employ good critical thinking and mindfulness, and remember that feelings are equally important. You may discover that you're wrong and even need to make an apology. Regardless, it can help you both find your way to a mutually satisfying solution. Everybody likes to feel like a winner, and most of us dislike losing. Having successful relationships and resolutions can mean everybody wins.